world according to Jesse. Today we discuss the latest Facebook purge and the freedom of speech on social media. So stop worrying about the likes for a minute. Sit tight. The show starts now. The world according to Jesse.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Brigitte Santos. For our first story today, Facebook has banned 7 controversial far-right accounts from its platform, including InfoWars and its founder, Alex Jones, white supremacist Paul Nealon, Nation of Islam leader Minister Louis Farrakhan, and former Breitbart contributor Milo Yiannopoulos, to name a few. Facebook cites repeated violations of its so-called dangerous individuals and organizations policy for the purge. Now, the policy aims to prevent and disrupt real-world harm, but it is inconsistently deployed. Under the rules, Facebook does not allow organizations or individuals that proclaim a violent mission or engage in violence to have a presence on the platform. Now, this includes people involved in terrorist activity and organized hate, violence, or crime. Under the policy, Facebook also removes content expressing support or praise for groups, leaders, or individuals involved in such activities. Facebook has not publicly disclosed every single incident leading up to the latest bans. So, Jesse, we really don't have specifics to comment on, but I'd still like to hear your thoughts on this policy anyway.
Well, the first and foremost thing, I guess, whether I like the policy or not, is that Facebook is a private company. So therefore, they can do basically what they want to do, as long as they don't break the law or violate any laws. So whether they allow you on or off is certainly up to their discretion to do so. I would like to see more of the data of what compels them to kick someone off or allow someone to stay on, and simply by stating unpopular things, I don't think necessarily that should get you kicked off. But then again, as I said, they are a private company, and therefore the standards they set are pretty well up to whatever they want them to be.
Yes, Facebook is a private company, but they have more than 2 billion active users. That's almost a third of all the people on Earth. And this platform is basically controlled by one man who decides what should or should not be on the platform. Do you think that's fair? Should big social media be broken down?
Well, again, is life fair, Brigitte? Most of the time, no. It's not fair. So, again, this is a private sector corporation, how they choose to run their business, even though they have access to a third of the world's population. Nobody's forcing that population to access Facebook. They're doing it of their own free will. So Facebook's got some good ground to stand on setting their own rules, I guess. Again, just as long as they're not violating any laws or violating anybody else's rights.
Facebook is a private company, so what I'm going to say next does not apply to it. But when it comes to the First Amendment, there are some limits to legally protected speech under the Constitution. Fighting words are not protected, and those are defined as speech used to inflame another person, incite physical retaliation, violence, or illegal activity. Language placing another person in danger of bodily harm or death is also not protected. But in both cases, a court must determine whether alleged fighting words or threats would be perceived by the average citizen as inherently likely to provoke violence or serve as a credible threat. And the threshold for proving so in court is very high because America truly has valued freedom of speech. At least that's the case historically in the courts so far. With Assange on the chopping block, we're going to see how that all plays out, but we're going to get to that in a minute. First, do you think any of these banned people would even lose a free speech court case over any of their activities online, Jesse?
Well, again, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a judge, and I'm certainly not a jury. You'd have to have the day in court where it would have to be shown with the evidence. And again, free speech is limited in certain ways. The old cliche, you're not allowed to yell fire in a theater because that puts people in danger. But see, that's a very erratic and hard to define line in many ways. So in essence, you do have free speech, but there are certain circumstances it doesn't apply. But in the case of being online like this, you choose to be online. And so therefore, really, you as the customer, you have to be smart enough to determine what you want to believe and what you don't want to believe, because there's nothing on the internet out there that is guaranteed factual. It all comes back to you and what you want to believe in the end.
Online social media platforms are, of course, protecting themselves from potential lawsuits and financial losses with advertisers pulling out. Is that why you think they're taking so much action against these controversial cultural figures?
I think certainly that plays a part in it because, in today's world, you can sue anybody. So they potentially are in line to be sued by things they put on the air that they're not really totally responsible for. The person putting it out there is responsible for it. And you, as the person on the internet, have to understand you can't believe everything you read on the internet. You got to use your own brain. You got to decipher what's true and what's not true and do your homework to find out if what you're reading is factual or not.
Facebook's leadership is liberal, that's not a secret. And do you think it can really be impartial in how it regulates the flow of information, especially now that elections are on the horizon?
Well, I don't think anything's totally impartial. Again, you as the user of it have to use your own brain and your own impartiality about it. Everyone's got an opinion, and you have to be able to get through those opinions. You can get great information on the internet, but I said it before. Don't believe everything you read on there, because there is nothing on there that says somebody can't lie or distort the truth. And, like even in texting, take a look at our president right now. You can't believe a thing that he writes anymore because he's lost all credibility at this point in time. You don't know whether he's talking the truth or whether he's telling a lie.